Yes guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, FPL Coach here. Hope you're all doing well. On today's video, it's going to be all about Game Week 10 review. We're also going to be looking at some possible injury news and suspensions that have happened over the last week or so that might affect our decision making going forward in terms of transfers in and transfers out. We're going to look at some possible replacements for those as well, short term and long term. And then we're going to look at some bits and bobs in terms of my interest in terms of transfers in, transfers out. I've got 2 free transfers. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. And then we'll look ahead to Game Week 11. So without further ado, let's dive into the video. Okay, so this is my Game Week 10 review. As you can see on the right hand side of the screen, I've scored 61 points, which I'm really happy about. Overall rank is 33,946. That is down from about 66k, so another decent green arrow. Overall points is 689, so definitely making some good strides into the 21-22 season in terms of FPL. Running through the team then, so I decided to play 1-4-3-3 formation with Ben Foster in goal. Picked up 2 points. Obviously lost 1-0 at home to Southampton. Disappointing there. Sort of target the fixture a bit more, thinking maybe there could be a clean sheet there. It wasn't to be. Moving on to the back four then. So Cancelo picked up 2 and Diaz picked up 1. The Cancelo was taken off before Man City conceded the second goal. So they lost at home 2-0 to Crystal Palace. And credit to Crystal Palace in that game as well. Played really well and deserved the win, despite the red card from Laporte as well. And obviously a dubious, well, that's not a dubious, there was a correct decision in terms of the Jesus goal being ruled out. So Cancelo picked up 2, like I just touched on. He went off before they conceded the second goal. Diaz picked up 1 point. Trent, they drew 2-2 at home to Brighton. He picked up 1 point for me as well. So no contributions for him there. And then Reese James, the absolute beauty. He kind of saved my game week, if I'm totally honest, guys. I definitely would have got a red arrow if he didn't pick up any goals or any clean sheets and just picked up another 2 or 3 point hauler, for example. So he picked up a brace and a clean sheet, all bonus, picked up 21 points. Super happy with him. Shout out to FPL Raptor as well, who kind of recommended to bring him in maybe a few weeks ago. And I don't normally kind of listen to lots of FPL managers, but I felt like the reasoning behind what he gave, which was there's more upside with Reese James. Obviously, there's the downside was the cameo appearance, etc. But when he does haul, he kind of hauls big. So really happy with him this week and obviously last week as well. Vernon was my vice captain. He picked up 2 points. Obviously they lost over to Crystal Palace. Rafinha picked up 9 points in the kind of the relegation 6-pointer, if you like. Picked up a goal and also got some bonus points there as well. So really happy with him. And their 2-1 win at home to also away to Norwich. Then Mo Salah picked up an assist. So obviously he picked up an assist after like 3 minutes at home to Brighton. You think, oh, okay, it's going to be a field day here. That's all he kind of contributed in the 2-2 draw in terms of FPL points, if you like. So he picked up 10 points. Obviously, he was my captain as well. Tony picked up 2. A little disappointing, actually, although I did kind of mention I'm disappointed with the outcome of Tony over the last 3-4 weeks since I brought him in. But I do think there's still going to be goals and assists for him going forward. I did mention in sort of the Game Week 10 preview video that Tony might struggle in this game just because of the personnel and the type of game it would be. I think that was the case. Not just for Tony, but for Brentford in as a whole, if you like. Jimenez picked up 9 points for me in the Monday Night Football. Lovely little finish for him to score. And they also picked up some bonus points as well. Good win for them at home to Everton last night. And then Antonio, he picked up 2 points for me as well. So that kind of rounded me up to 61 points. However, it could have been a whole lot better. Ramsdale on my bench picked up 10. Smith Rowe picked up 9, obviously scoring a goal. Ramsdale obviously had a clean sheet and loads of bonus points and save points. Livramento, who just keeps getting them clean sheets and points on my bench. It's really frustrating. He picked up another 6 points, and then Brownhill picked up 2 points. So on my bench, that equates to, 19, 20, 27 points. And then the week before that, if you remember rightly, I had 22 points on my bench. So that's the best part of 50 points on the bench in 2 game weeks. I'm not saying I deserved all those, but maybe if I picked up half, another 25 points, all of a sudden you're flirting around the sort of 10k mark. But it is what it is. Again, I can't complain too much. Obviously, I keep saying it every week. When you do have these points on the bench, you kind of you think, what if, better decisions could I have made, etc. But you've got to be happy with the decisions you make, especially when you get a green arrow and you keep climbing them ranks as well. So yeah, just to touch on again, 33,946. That is my highest rank of the season. That's 2 green arrows in a row, 3 out of the last 4 weeks as well. 4 weeks ago I was about 260k and now 33k. So definitely going in the right direction on the back of the wild card I made. I didn't make any transfers this week as well, which I'll kind of mention. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. So I've got 2 free transfers going into game week 11. Squad value is 102.8 million at this stage of the season. Pretty good. Bearing in mind there's been a lot of chopping and changing in terms of especially the big hitters, excluding Mo Salah, the likes of Lukaku, Kane, Ronaldo, etc. A lot of rotation there, so you can't build up your price value in your players. And then in the bank I've got 3.7 million as well to spend, so I can use that, if I wanted to upgrade a striker, for example. Going to move on to some injury news next. Okay, so looking at some obvious injury suspensions and other bits and bobs, i.e. COVID, that's kind of happened over the last week to 10 days, all on the back of game week 10. So Laporte is the first name to sort of look at. He obviously picked up the red card at Crystal Palace. He's going to miss the Manchester derby. Should be back for game week 12, which is home to Everton. You've got a decision to make there. Do you hold him? Do you sell him? Have you got the bench to cover him, etc.? There's a decision to make. I mean, it's not the easiest games, Manchester derby anyway, so maybe he wasn't planning to play him anyway, so it might be worth just putting him on the bench and bring on someone from the bench. Maybe if you've got a Livramento, for example, or maybe a enabler in terms of a midfielder. Ezzy Konsa, no, I don't think he's an FPL asset directly, but he could have an effect on the team going forward in terms of the offensive assets. So what I mean by that is, firstly, he's picked up the red card. He's going to miss game week 11 away to Southampton. But what I meant by that is, the team isn't playing very well anyway. They're very vulnerable defensively. Him coming out is obviously going to be a big loss. The team can continue to concede goals. It's going to be even harder and more pressure on the attacking players. And maybe they could crumble and it could affect their confidence going forward as well. The likes of Watkins, Ings, Buendia, for example. So, yeah, so he kind of has a big knock-on effect in terms of the team. It's a bit like if Martinez is out, for Aston Villa as well, that can have a big effect on the team as well. And then Pabigno, who... he's kind of been injured for a little while, actually. I've kind of just missed him the last couple of weeks. But I thought it's worth mentioning because obviously Liverpool dropped points at the weekend in the 2-2 draw, home to Brighton, and he missed that game as well. So he's got a knee injury, which he's had for a couple of weeks now. Klopp's quoted by saying, with Fabinho, it doesn't look that good. He did go on to say he hasn't joined group training. So that was the lead up to game week 10, ahead of the Brighton game. Worth mentioning, so he's missed a few games recently, and Liverpool conceded quite a few goals in those games. So there's a Champions League game against Atletico where Liverpool conceded 2 goals in the first half. He wasn't playing. He came on at half time and then they didn't concede in the second half. Obviously, the game against Brighton, conceded 2 goals in that game as well. So he is massive in terms of solidity, in terms of composure, being that single pivot, in terms of protection on the likes of Van Dijk and Konate in this case. It might be Matip, etc. But not just those, you've got Trent and Robbo as well. So it's worth mentioning that if Firmino isn't playing, it does have a knock-on effect in terms of Liverpool's clean sheets, for example, and the likes of Trent and Van Dijk and Robbo, etc. So just worth mentioning and monitoring if he's going to be out for a period of time, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and maybe as Trent owners, it's worth just sort of having in your mind that you're not going to have as many clean sheets going forward. Okay, looking ahead at some possible replacements for the likes of Laporte and Konsa. Laporte is valued at 5.5 million and Konsa is 4.9. It's worth just mentioning again that both these players are just going to miss game week 11. So if you can, maybe just leave them on your bench for game week 11 and bring them back in for game week 12. That might be the smart play. However, there is a few possible replacements you could think of. Reese James is 5.7 million. I think he could be outstanding, especially the fixture going forward in terms of game week 11. They're home to Burnley. There could be some massive points there for Reese James. John Stones is probably coming in for Laporte in game week 11. He's valued at 5.3 million. You can save yourself 0.2 if it is Laporte that you are selling. And then Konate, who's broken into the Liverpool team over the last sort of 2-3 game weeks, he's valued at 5.1. Really, really good value actually for a Liverpool defender. Obviously, there is a lot of centre-backs at Liverpool that are available at the moment. You've got Joe Gomez, who can't get a sniff at the moment. And then obviously Matip, who was playing prior to Konate. So there's a little bit of rotation there as well. So for me, Reese James is the outstanding player. I think there's a lot of rotation risk between all three, but there's more upside with Reese James. Obviously, it does depend on the makeup of your team, your squad, your value, etc. Do you have Reese James already? What transfer plans have you got? Have you got other priorities, etc.? But these are a few suggestions that I would make for the likes of Laporte and constant replacements. Okay, looking ahead at game week 11 and a possible transfer I could make. What we'll say at this stage is I can make 2 free transfers. Obviously roll my transfer in game week 10. My plan is to just make 1 free transfer at this stage and then roll and then look to make 2 in game week 12 after the international break. Obviously anything can happen during the international break in terms of COVID, injuries, that kind of thing as well. So what I'm looking to do is take Diaz out. We've obviously got the Manchester derby this weekend. It's not the most favourable fixture. And game week 12, Everton at home and then West Ham away. They're never easy. They could concede goals. I mean, they have been against the likes of Brighton and Crystal Palace, so it's not guaranteed they're going to keep clean sheets despite them being home fixtures. And then bringing in Ben Chilwell, who's got Burnley at home in this fixture as well, so he's really sort of targeting that fixture. He's in terrific form, so are Chelsea as well. The valuation between two is quite similar as well. Diaz is 6.1 and Chilwell is 6 million, so that'll leave me 3.8 million in the bank, and then obviously rolling a second transfer ahead of game week 12. Okay, looking ahead to option number 2, obviously got 2 free transfers, and if I was to make both, this is what I would do. So the Diaz to Chilwell would absolutely happen, and then I'm thinking about possibly taking out Rafinha and bringing in Kai Havertz. Again, targeting the fixture at home to Burnley. I think Havertz has maybe been a little bit unfortunate in the last 3 games in all competitions, only sort of getting 1 goal in the League Cup and then an assist in the game against Newcastle as well. So maybe there's something, a big score maybe around the corner. It could be the home game against Burnley as well. So if I do this, it'll leave me 2.3 million in the bank again. It leaves me plenty of money, obviously, if I want to upgrade a player ahead of game week 12. However, it only gives me 1 free transfer ahead of game week 12. And that's kind of, I don't like the sound of that, especially ahead of, or sorry, on the back of the international break as well. So okay, this does look quite nice in terms of targeting game week 11, but then obviously beyond that, anything can happen in terms of international, COVID, quarantine, that kind of thing as well, injuries, etc. So that's kind of what I will do if I do make 2 free transfers. There's nothing against Rafinha. Or having said that, obviously you've got the international break and again, Brazil, quarantine issues, etc., etc. There's loads of different things you've got to think about there as well. So as it stands right now, I'll probably be using option number 1. However, if I'm feeling ambitious, a bit more aggressive, something happens maybe with Rafinha, then maybe this could be a viable option going forward. Okay, so this is my game week 11 preview team. So I'm looking to play a 1-4-4-2 formation. As you can see, I've made the transfer for, well, I'm going to be making the transfer for Ben Chilwell in, Diaz out if I use option 1. So running through the team, Ramsdale at home to Watford, nice fixture, Arsenal in good form as well. Cancelo, the Manchester derby away from home. Trent away to West Ham. Reese James and Chilwell at home to Burnley. And one of those could be my vice captain, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. Foden away in the Manchester derby, in really good form at the moment. Rafinha at home to Leicester. Mo Salah away to West Ham, who'll probably be my captain again this week. I don't think you can go against Mo Salah at the moment. Smith Rowe home to Watford, terrific form at the moment as well. Ivan Toney, he's got the fixture at home to Norwich. And then Jimenez, who's slowly but surely finding his form. They've got an away fixture, a tricky fixture, you could say, away to Crystal Palace. That leaves Ben Foster, Antonio, Livramento and Branham on my bench. I've got reservations of leaving Antonio on the bench. That might switch to Jimenez potentially, but it's probably unlikely because if I bring in Antonio, basically what I'm saying is I want him to score, but I've also got Trent in my team as well, and I don't want that to happen. So I feel like this is probably the strongest decision to make. As you can see, I've got Mo Salah as my captain. I've got no vice captain as it stands right now. However, it could be one of the Chelsea boys, i.e. James or Chilwell. The other thing to mention is if I do sell Rafinha and make that second transfer, then it's probably be Kai Havertz as my vice captain. There you have it, guys. That is another video in the bag. Game week 10 review. Also some information in terms of injury news, captaincy choices, and a little preview ahead of game week 11. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Something I didn't mention deliberately, and I deliberately didn't mention it because we don't know loads of news about it, but Nuno Espirito Santo has been sacked at Spurs, and we believe Antonio Conte will be the new manager. I think that might happen at some point today. At the time of recording, it hasn't happened. Obviously, in terms of Spurs assets going forward, the likes of Son, Moura, Kane, Reguilon, Lloris maybe, Dyer, etc. I think it's just to watch the space at this stage. You know, if Spurs go and tear it up in their next fixture and go and win 3-4-5-0, then I'm sure there'll be an influx of, especially attacking players, an influx of transfers in terms of those players. So we didn't mention those, but I thought I'll just mention it a little bit because it's worth sort of mentioning in terms of what's going to happen. We haven't got enough data as it stands right now. You obviously got the international break around the corner as well. So if you do like this type of video, please do drop it a like and hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. If you want to leave a cheeky little comment below as well, that would be fantastic. I do get back to all my comments as well. Follow us on our Instagram accounts. We've got 2 accounts. We've got FPL Coach, FPL.coach. That's kind of obviously FPL content on there. Also got my the Indian Football Coach account as well, where we do lots of football challenges. That's my business account. And then the Indian FC is our Twitter account, where it's kind of a mixture between FPL stuff and my business account as well. So please do drop us a like, follow, etc. And we'll see everyone in the next episode.